That one there, Mike?
Yes.
That one
I
for
would- I
Jason.
would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we go.
Yeah, everything looks great.
Hello and welcome to another edition of our Sunday podcast. Here with me today, I have Jesse Allan of the Larry Allan Real Estate team. So, Jesse, thank you so much for coming on today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I wanted to ask you, you currently have the number one spot for team units
Yes.
in Canada. So tell us a little bit about you, tell us a little bit about your work ethic.
Sure.
And perhaps what it's like to work real estate in Nova Scotia, particularly in pre-construction. And we'll get into what pre-construction is in a minute.
Sure. Yeah, so my name's Jesse Allan. I've had my real estate license for 7.5 years now. Joined my father, Larry Allan, where the two of us make the Larry Allan Real Estate team. And he's a great mentor to have, and we've been number one in units last year, so we're
Good.
We're working hard, and we're trying to sell lots of condos. Yeah.
So do you find that there is a strong market for condos or pre-construction new condos in Nova Scotia, or is it primarily around the Halifax area?
In Halifax specifically, it's very strong, and that's
Right.
mainly because there's only one project.
Right.
Where if you look around the whole city, you see all kinds of construction happening.
Yes.
And a lot of people think those are condo buildings. They're actually apartment buildings.
Right.
So the only ones being built are Navy Lane and North, which are two listings that we have. So one's a 71 unit condo building about to close this spring.
Right.
And the other one is a 175 unit condo building, pre-construction, going to close in probably 2 years.
So that's a lot of units. That's really going
That's
to
a lot of units,
keep
yeah.
you busy for
For a
little
long
bit.
time, yeah.
I'm going to get into it a little bit later on. I'm going to
Sure.
ask you what you do to de-stress.
Okay.
But we'll get to
Okay,
to
yeah.
that in a moment. So can you tell us, I think mainly for our viewers, what exactly is pre-construction?
So pre-construction is a special type of new construction where we're primarily selling based on the floor plan. So nothing's built yet. The building's usually designed at that point in time, but we're trying to sell everything to get a pre-sales target and then when we hit that target, they can build the building.
They build the building. So essentially, it's something which is on paper.
Yep.
The buyer comes along and picks sort of a design or layout and a
That's
price,
right,
something that suits their budget.
Yep.
And then you take a deposit.
Yes.
Based on that, which is payable sort of over certain terms.
Yeah, so the way it works in these projects, it's a 15% deposit, and that's spread out across an entire year.
Right.
So instead of coming up with 15% all at once, it's 5% within 30 days, 5% at 6 months, and then 5% at 12 months.
So that's pretty reasonable. It means
Very reasonable,
it gives access to a whole lot of buyers to sort of incrementally make that deposit.
Yes,
As
yep.
opposed to all upfront, as in the case of a regular purchase.
That's right. And compared to a regular purchase where, let's say, you're doing an investment property,
Right.
you have to put down 20% minimum. And so your closing costs, everything in will be somewhere around 22.5%, 23%. And you have to come up with that right away on closing. And then you're paying your mortgage, you've got all of your expenses, your maintenance, you might have tenancy issues, all that sort of thing.
Right.
Where in pre-construction, it's just 15% spread across an entire year. You don't pay anything else. You can kind of sit back and relax. Ideally, your asset grows in value because we don't buy real estate for it to go down.
Right.
We're
Right.
anticipating it's going to go up. And then you close on it like a regular purchase in those 2.5 and 3 years.
It seems like a no-brainer because you could
I agree.
put on your
Yeah.
you could buy the property, just kind of sit on the investment, make your deposits. When it's built, you could literally put it on the market straight
Yep,
away.
that's right.
And potentially sell that for a good profit.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so something that does come up quite often, people are curious about this, you have to close on it in these projects.
Right.
Where in other cities you can do an assignment sale. That means you
Okay.
can basically flip the paperwork.
Right.
There's different reasons you would do that, but on these projects, that's not allowed. You do have to close on it.
Got to go into your name, and then you can
Correct.
sell it.
Yep,
Okay, fair
exactly.
enough. One of the challenges I'm going to ask you about the planning and design.
Sure.
You know what goes into it. But one of the challenges I think in the city is parking. How do you address
Yes.
that problem with condos?
Well, so the zoning rules have changed quite a bit in the last few years. And parking, they're getting rid of a lot of parking
Yeah.
requirements. So in Navy Lane, there's 175 residential units,
Right.
but there's only 87 parking spots.
Got it. Do you have underground parking?
We have
there?
underground parking.
Okay.
Yeah. So not every unit can get parking, and the way it works is it's a separate deeded space.
Right.
So you pay for it separately.
Got it.
But it's only available for purchase on units that are above a certain size.
Okay. So that is fantastic. So coming into the phases of this, the planning and design phase,
Yeah.
how do you plan out something like this? How do you just sort of one day decide we're going to build an apartment building?
Yeah.
Where do you go from nothing to having a plan and running through that?
So usually the developer and the architects would kind of run through that with the zoning of the city and see
Right.
what could be built. Highest and best use is what everyone's always looking for.
Yes.
And then we're consulted with in terms of what they think they could sell them for. And then
Right.
that's kind of all part of the design, the finances, and all of that are all kind of part of like a symbiotic relationship, I could say.
And how do you find the land to use? I mean, the city is pretty built up and congested.
Yeah,
It's almost
yeah.
as if you'd have to take something down to put something up. How do you still find available land to build something
So
good?
there's still quite a few vacant pieces of land around.
Okay.
Sometimes they do require like demolition, that sort of thing.
Right.
But in the case of Navy Lane, it was actually the old Met store on Gottingen Street.
Okay.
That had been torn down, was rezoned for a different development. They never built it, so it had been vacant for, I can't remember, maybe 15, 20 years.
Right.
And so that was just a vacant piece of land waiting to be built.
Right, and that brings us back to the highest and best use. So we certainly
Exactly,
do need homes
Yes.
for folk
Yeah.
in Halifax. Another important consideration is the cost estimations. So within the Larry Allan real estate team,
Yeah.
you guys would map out costings.
Yes.
How do you arrive at costings for something that hasn't been built yet, when there's no benchmark to?
It is a bit of, it's not an exact science, but it is a bit of projection. Some assumptions are made.
Right.
We are, I wouldn't use the word speculation, but we are kind of doing a bit of future planning.
Okay.
Assuming certain price points we're going to be able to hit, that sort of thing. What's too high, what's too low. We do use comparables in the area.
Right.
But the challenge with Halifax specifically is we don't have that many condo buildings, especially newer condo
Brand new
buildings.
ones, yeah.
brand new ones.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of older inventory that just, you can't really compare them. It's not the same.
No.
That's like
Yeah.
comparing an old home to a new home, right? It's just-
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, completely different products. So, but that's also the benefit because there's a low amount of supply. So there's high demand for that sort of product because
Right.
you're in a prime location, you're walkable to everything, and it's brand new, and the amenities are nice.
Absolutely, and you and I, we had a discussion when I had a client looking for a condo.
Yep.
You sent me a sheet of the available condos, and to the viewers, I will say that the condos are really well priced. I
Yes.
mean, to me, I didn't think anything was overpriced.
Right.
And it's brand new, and of course, you have the incremental increase in value
Exactly.
up until the building phase.
Yeah, so you're really locking in today's prices for tomorrow's value. That's kind of what I keep saying on social media, right? It's
Yeah.
you lock in your price today, you don't pay anything else, and then you close on that price
Yeah.
in 2 or 3 years, and then the market will have appreciated up to a certain point. Then you've got the option to either sell it, like we said,
Right.
or you could move into it, or you could rent it out and maximize it even further.
Well, what I found really interesting was our brief discussion about marketing before this interview, and I like what you mentioned about using the social media and the mail outs. Do you find that new and innovative methods of marketing are required for pre-construction? Like, what would be the main
Yes.
angle? Like, what would you focus on?
So we did, that was actually the reason we got so many people in our launch weekend, our VIP list. So
Right.
one of the ways these projects work is we have a pre-launch party where that's the first opportunity for people to come in and purchase a unit. That's usually people who've been a previous purchaser, or they're a special client like related to the developer
That's
or something
a great
like that.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we
Yeah.
build up a list, and it kind of creates that excitement and gets people ready. There's a bit of FOMO, and so that's kind of
Yeah.
part of the
Oh, yeah.
the angle, right? Not to reveal too much here, but
All marketing really
yeah,
is like
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
And so we basically do like a mail out campaign. We'll do an email blast campaign, and we'll just collect names for a few months, and
Yeah.
then we'll just hammer home the message to that list through text blasts. That
Yeah.
was a huge one for us.
Okay.
And then we get people to set up an appointment for the launch weekend.
Yep.
And then we just we sold I think 40 units on launch weekend.
On launch weekend.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it really works.
A couple of late nights there.
Couple of late nights. Oh yeah.
Fair enough. So when you do something like this, there's always an element of risk involved. I
Yes.
think people on the one hand see that great, there's a condo building being built,
Yeah.
and these units are being sold, but there's always some
Sure.
risk in finding this and selling it, hoping that the units are going to sell.
Yep.
Do you feel that you are achieving your targets? So to sort of mitigate that risk that you're kind of just, I know you don't have too many units left, so
Yeah. I think,
Yeah.
well, we've definitely, we've reached our targets.
great.
So basically we have to get to, typically the number is 50% pre-sales
Yeah.
until they can start construction. They've put the shovel in the ground. The crane went up literally a week from today.
Okay.
So 1 week ago, and they're going to start pouring concrete any day now.
Any day soon.
And they usually only do that once we have a certain level of sales.
Okay.
And then we've got to kind of we've got a target that we're trying to keep for each month and then each year. And there's risk in everything, but I think there's such a shortage of supply still in Halifax that it's going to get gobbled up. I mean, I know a lot of people are right now, especially with tariffs, and people are worried about their jobs. There's a lot of uncertainty.
Right.
So we are feeling, admittedly, a little bit of a slowdown. We're still getting some action into the sales center, but I think people are just kind of waiting a little bit.
Yes.
Spring's going to change things. I think we're already seeing it on the resale side.
Yeah.
And I think usually you see the residential resale side kind of heat up first, and then it moves into the condo market.
Into the condos.
Yeah.
So with the pre-construction timelines and scheduling, one of the questions which buyers may have is when will my condo be ready?
Yeah.
How do you, so you mentioned breaking ground once you've sold a certain number of units, which makes perfect sense. Do you have buyers on the one hand asking when their condos will be ready, and how would you
Yes.
answer that question?
Yeah, so usually we have a projected occupancy date at the start of the project, and most of the time that gets moved a little bit.
Okay.
Because there's a lot going on in a building.
And that's in the contract.
That's in the contract.
They're fully aware
Yep.
of it, right?
Yep, and then they're fully aware of it, and they're also fully aware that that's subject to change.
Okay.
Right, and one of the benefits, though, when that changes is you're not paying anything, and
Yeah.
it just continues to appreciate.
Appreciate in value.
And that's what I remind people. Now, sometimes if you need to move in, then that's a challenge, and I understand those frustrations. But most people, when there's been a delay, they're actually happy, especially in today's market where interest rates are coming down.
Right.
So the timing is kind of aligning.
It's very good.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
you'll sell those last few units very quickly.
I think so.
Yeah. You still have one or two at North, which
Yes.
was the other
That's right.
North End condo
Yeah,
unit.
we got
that
3
you're
units there at North. That'll be closing probably June, July this year.
Closing June, July. Okay. How many units do you still have at Navy Lane?
We've got 55 left.
55 left. Okay, guys. So there you have it. 55 units. Get in there while it's hot. Ground has been broken.
Yep.
And these units are increasing in value. So chat to Jesse about that. His sales office is on Gottingen Street.
Yep, we're located at 2179 Gottingen Street. So we're open 1 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday, and you can visit us during the week, 12 to 4, Tuesday through Thursday.
I think for our viewers, we'd be wondering when your next project is coming up. Have you got anything?
We
on the
don't have
horizon?
anything that we can speak of at the moment.
Yeah.
There may be some news in the future to share, but at the moment we don't have another site.
Okay.
So-
Because if you do, I want to bring you back on and we can have
Sure.
a whole chat about
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
that's really the best, what's the saying? The best time to plant a tree was
Yeah.
20 years ago. The next
Right.
best time is today. The best time to get in pre-construction is right now, right?
Right now, absolutely. I had a question for you about working within a team
Sure.
and with your dad. How does can you give us any tips? And I'm thinking this is mainly for our real estate practitioners and viewers. What good tips can you give us for working within a team and working with clients?
Right. Well, I'd say we have a little bit of a different dynamic just because we are a father-son team.
Right.
So there's a little bit more, I don't know, we're more frank with each other. We can be more honest and just kind of, there's a little more trust
Can
at the
be
same
an
time.
advantage.
It's an advantage, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we do have complementary skills, and
Okay.
he's got a lot of experience, right? I think he's got 25 years of real estate experience.
Yep.
And then on top of that, business to business sales for years. And he's been self-employed since he was 18. So
Okay.
his work ethic is insane.
Right.
And it's just being exposed to that is a huge benefit to me. But
Yeah.
and
I didn't actually know we had a doorbell here.
yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Yep.
So Jesse, working in such a high stress environment, how do you take time for yourself to de-stress and do something outside of real estate? The temptation is to just keep working. Your dad
Yes.
has a strong work ethic.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some expectation there,
Yeah.
or maybe here we would encourage you to de-stress. But how do you de-stress? How do you take time for yourself outside of real estate?
So I do wrestling and Brazilian jiu-jitsu 3 times a week.
Okay.
And it doesn't get more de-stressing than that.
Well, I'm
I'll
glad
say.
this interview went well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 times a week. And if I'm feeling extra stressed, I like to go for a walk. I find like a quick, 15 to 30
Yeah.
minutes, that'll just kind of settle the nerves.
Okay.
And, it just makes, it's like meditation, really.
Absolutely. I think a lot of folk, the temptation is to, in real estate,
Yeah.
just be dialed in 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And,
just really focusing on selling. The only way I've been managing to do it is to actually put it in my calendar.
Right.
Then it's an item that needs to be
Yes.
attended to.
Well, yeah, those 3 days a week that I train, those are like non-negotiable.
Cast in stone.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. There's one of those days where if I have to do a showing, obviously I'm going to do the showing instead. But
Yeah.
it's like a little give and take. But it's still, that's my schedule. Like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Those-
And how did you get into that? Where does that
I
come
started that 17 years ago.
from? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a long innings.
It's a long time doing that. Yeah.
Fair enough. So I think that's everything we have today, and I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Perhaps if you could just let everyone know the office address again
Sure.
for Gottingen, and then perhaps the best way to contact you, the best contact
Yeah,
number.
sure. So you can visit our sales center at 2179 Gottingen Street. We're open 1 to 4 on Saturday and Sunday, and 12 to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday. You can reach me at 902-980-0370.
And that's a wrap. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Jesse.
Appreciate it. Thank you
having
very
on.
much.
Thank you, my friend.
Cheers.